I think
Yeah.
we're live. Holy
Yes,
shit.
that's what it says.
Oh my gosh. The first thing I said on LinkedIn Live was a swear word. That's great. Cool.
Let me see if it actually shows up, because
Okay.
LinkedIn Live will show up.
Okay.
Uh,
You do that, and I will, in the meantime, entertain.
yes,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
showing up. It's showing up.
So this is my first time on LinkedIn Live. How about you?
My first time doing anything live like this,
Oh my gosh.
and now I lost the screen. Here we are.
It's
So you
okay. I
see,
can see you.
yeah. So
I
you
can.
see, can you? So if you go to your LinkedIn notifications and you refresh it, you're showing up there as LinkedIn
Okay,
Live.
awesome. Cool. I trust you. I believe you. Um, anyway, hi, Meenakshi.
Hello.
I'm Magda. For those of you, well, no, you wouldn't know me because you're connected on LinkedIn. You're only seeing this if we're connect. Wow. It's been a long day. This is like my third video thing, which
Yes,
is really funny because like I don't do this stuff ever. And now all of a sudden I'm doing it a lot.
yeah. I actually was in the other two as well. I attended part of your interview with Lorraine this morning, and then
Cool.
the webinar, the Kochaya webinar as well. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I love this, all the live content when it goes well. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to go well because you're fabulous and amazing. And
I'll take that.
you're,
And so are you.
say who you are. You're Meenakshi.
Hi, so my name is Meenakshi Iyer, and I am a learner coach with Coach Aria right now.
Yay.
And I'm also a newly minted, well, I think I should stop saying that. It's been about 8 months since I started my own consultancy. So it's been a fun ride.
Nice. Um, just FYI, some people who are listening might not know what Coacharia is because this is broadcasting on my LinkedIn, not the Coacharia LinkedIn.
Got it.
And for those of you who don't know what it is, Coacharia is the company where I am the CEO. And we do lots of wonderful things in learning and development. So we train coaches, we do coaching, we do lots of really great content where experts in adjacent and coaching areas do webinars with us and teach us all good new things. And one of the initiatives that I started recently with Coach Aria is, and recently, like literally last week, this week was
Yeah.
my second week, is Wonder Women Wednesdays. And what that's all about is showcasing the amazing women that I've just been really lucky to come across. And the purpose is to showcase them and to show how they make the world a little better every day. And I want this to be an opportunity for us to uplift each other and support each other. So I want it to be a really positive experience. So what was really cool? So last week feels like last year because it was March, longest year ever we had in March. Um, Last week I talked to Shada Shuker, who's a good friend of mine and a research scientist.
Yep.
And this morning I spoke to Lorraine Moose, who is uh, a recruiter and a parent and an exec and coach. She's many different things. Really cool lady, very inspirational. And one of the reasons why I'm feeling a lot more comfortable doing this than I did before, because you guys should watch the video. It's on the Coacharia LinkedIn page, and it's also on our YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Coacharia. But she talked about not being perfect
Mm,
and being okay with it,
yeah.
and taking feedback and giving feedback when it comes to you. And I just thought that was so relevant to all the stuff that I've been stressing about. Um, So anyway, I started that series and it's going to keep happening every week. But then I get on these phone calls with these fabulous women like Meenakshi, and we just laugh and then we talk about serious stuff. And usually I'm drinking wine. So I thought, if it's Wonder Woman Wednesday, why can't it be Wonder Woman Wednesdays and wine? So Meenakshi, cheers.
Cheers, Magda.
Ooh, yours is a fancy glass.
It's just stemless. That's it.
What are you drinking today?
It's an Italian Chardonnay.
Okay. I'm drinking also an Italian, but mine is a Barbera.
Mm,
So
it's a good
cool.
one.
Mm-hmm. Meenakshi, so why did I want to have a wine with you other than because you're amazing? You and I, whenever we connect, you're very organized and prepared and structured in terms of like meetings and things. And it's always amazing. And it's frankly a tiny bit embarrassing because as much as I try to prepare, I have shiny object syndrome big time. And I mean, I won't show you this, but I literally have, I think, 5 different to-do lists around me on this table because, yeah, I just can't focus. Anyway, um, so you're awesome in your own right. And whenever we talk, there's just something insightful you say, and I go, huh, you're right. This is really interesting. And we were chatting yesterday or day before, and I don't remember exactly what the topic was, but what started coming up for me is this whole idea of imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, I did the interview with Lorraine. I also had a couple other interactions with women who I think are pretty fucking amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm swearing on LinkedIn again. Bad Magda. And I emailed a whole bunch of women trying to coordinate this the series that's in the morning on Wednesdays. And you know what? Like every single one of them, in some way or another, said something along the lines of, "Are you sure that I'm the right person for this? Or are you
Mm.
sure you want to invite me? Or, oh, what will I talk about? Or, oh, I'm nervous." Just like even the ones who told me for a fact, no, I'm confident, I don't have issues with that kind of stuff. But then as we're talking in context, it's coming up that they have some sort of reason why they don't feel like they have things to share. And it's ridiculous
Right.
because yes, they do. And it's ridiculous because these women are phenomenal. And it's ridiculous because it's like, I don't know, like it's just everyone experiences this imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I think about it, the more pissed off I get. So anyway, this isn't really a question. What do you think?
So, I had the exact same reaction when you first talked to me about it, about interviewing me down the line for the Wonder Woman Wednesday series. Um, I think for me personally, it was to do with um, the concept of Wonder Woman. I don't know, and I have to actually think about what my mental image of that
You don't have to have
kind.
actual superpowers, okay?
I know.
Or be an
So,
actual Amazon.
so I think that's part of it, and I think at the back of our minds, especially speaking for myself, I think there's this. Um, uh, uh, for me, it's a sense of questioning myself. Is what I have to share and say, is it going to be of value to others or not? And the other thing is, what I have to share, is it really that important? Are others already not saying that? Are people already not hearing that? What new and different am I going to do or provide or share? That's those are some of the thoughts. The other piece is, I remember the first time I did one of the webinars for Coach Aria, my first webinar with you guys. Um, I didn't realize how much stressed I was about it until I actually started it, because there you were, all this whatever 50 plus people from different parts of the world signing in, and such a huge responsibility of making sure that's what I felt, of making
Mm.
sure that the time that they were investing was really worthwhile, that they got something out of it, and that they something practical, something tangible. And I felt that sense of responsibility right when I started that webinar. I've done presentations and training sessions and things like that, but I don't think I'd felt that before. Probably because I think I know the reason why. Because I was doing that representing another brand or a company as an employee,
Hmm.
and this webinar that I did with Coach Aria was my first time doing something in the public space, representing my own business and myself as a brand. And that first experience of me and of my brand, the I think the weight of it sort of hit me when I actually started doing the webinar. So going back to your question, I think that it's a combination of different emotions. Am I good enough? Is it valuable enough? Is it unique enough? Have people already not heard it before? A combination of all that.
Hmm. Why do you think? Hmm, sorry, that's a question you no one's going to answer. Have you always experienced this, or is this something that's new because you're starting this new business for you?
Yeah, for me it is because I'm starting on my own, and um, I am I feel like I'm the guardrails. I'm building the guardrails in terms of how you operate and what kind of work you do and you don't do as an employee. Those guardrails were already present, and those um, boundaries, for lack of a better term, they were present. So I knew where I was operating in, and even if it was training or any of that kind of work, the audience was known to me, and the purpose was, it was directly tied to an organizational goal, etc. Whereas now, as an independent business owner, I think that, and so, this morning's webinar around virtual networking, it was so fascinating because um, the all the things that Stefano talked about, right, about the sense of kind of questioning yourself and the feeling of, oh my god, this is a big risk that I'm taking. All of that, every single post that I make on LinkedIn. I just joined Twitter about a couple of months ago. That was pure, it was based on something else totally random. It wasn't planned. And now when I actually make my posts, I think about it a lot. So it's like, okay, the same questions. I mean, am I adding value? Will Can people read it and make sense of it? Am I approachable in my with my content? And so I think about that much more because I'm my own brand,
Hmm.
and what I do, how I think what is important for me, especially in the social media context, is that it's important for me that I am congruent, that my real life, my real me is congruent with what I come across as on these platforms. And what you see as a social media post, unless you do a video or a voice message, it's merely words, and it's up to the reader as to how they take it. And there's a big risk of being misconstrued with the wrong choice of words. And so I think that's another layer of um, complexity, if you will, that I think through before I, make any posts.
But why do you think we do that? Because I do it too. I try to do it less because I get into analysis paralysis big time. Like,
Yes.
give me a rabbit hole, I will go down there and make friends with all the bunnies. Um, I, you know, why do you think we do that more in the digital medium where we have these chances to actually think through and edit? Because in real life, I mean, I don't think maybe only sociopaths go around blurting out stupid things. I don't know. But like, we have interactions all the time with strangers and with friends and family. And we're not, pausing for 30 seconds before
True.
we say, yes, that color does look nice on you. Like, you know,
Right.
and that interaction matters more because it's probably somebody, unless it's a stranger, but it's more likely someone that we care about. It's we get direct feedback because the person is there, so it's not like we can
Right.
take it back and delete the post. That's not an option.
Right.
Yet we're okay doing that. But in our online lives, especially, usually as strangers, people's attention spans are small. Like, I'm very grateful if someone's watching this, but frankly, I'm expecting like maybe your husband and my sister to watch it. Let's be honest. Not because it doesn't add value. I think it does. It's just, like, I'm keeping expectations low. So hopefully
Right.
whatever good happens, it's a bonus. But why do you think that we're so concerned about these like impressions we give to strangers that we're never going to see most likely versus how we interact with our day-to-day people that are important to us?
That's an interesting perspective that you bring. So, for me, it wasn't about that. For me,
Okay.
it was about Actually, you're right. So there are some, um, like LinkedIn or Twitter, you can edit a post, you can delete a post, whatever. That's fine.
Hmm.
I think, for me, I'm doing this, primarily for my business. So one, I want to make sure that the brand consistency across different channels, I'm able to maintain that,
Hmm.
and the consistency with, the congruency between what I post and what I say I am interested in and I'm doing, and what my values are and what my value proposition is. So to your point about why, so for me, why I spend a lot of time thinking about, every post, or even agonizing about all these posts. For me, I want to make sure that, I'm as inclusive as possible in what I say, and that I actually make sense to, as much of the folks that are as many of the folks that are reading it as possible. At
Hmm.
the same time, I grab their attention. So, the length of the post, and, what am I really saying? Is it so? I Many years ago, I saw this graphic on LinkedIn, an infographic, and I'd seen it circulated many times over. It's an acronym: WAIT, WAIT. Why am I talking? And then it has this little flow chart. I'm going to find it. I have it in
I
my
like it.
computer. Yeah, it's to me, I always remember that. So, it's like a little flow chart that says, in a meeting, and everything will come back to the decision box as to why am I talking, and then, are you adding value? Is this a fact or an opinion? I have others already said it. Are you repeating it? All of those questions, and if the answer is no, then just zip it, right? So, I tend to do the same thing in my posts, and also the interactions that I do online. So for me, it is not about being more concerned about strangers than the people in my life. I think the direct interactions, the personal or in-person interactions, um, in my opinion, you have the ability to, exactly to your point, because you get immediate feedback. It's a better way to communicate. It's a more effective way to communicate than through social media. The other thing that I'm most worried about is that, because most of the times we access social media on our smartphones, um, the ease of access and the ease with which we can just look at a snippet and pass judgment or forward or comment, without really taking the time to understand the context. That propensity is so high
Hmm.
that in my posts, I take it upon myself to sort of anticipate some of that reaction, and kind of cover all bases to the extent possible, in the posts that I make. I also, when I am looking at others' posts, be it LinkedIn or Twitter, um, I check in with myself if I'm retweeting something, or if I'm commenting on something, or if I'm engaging in a discussion on LinkedIn. I always think about the weight. Why am I talking? Um, am I adding value? Am I being, supportive of the person who's posted it? Or am I asking a question, which is a genuine question? So I will never rant, and I will never retweet or share something that has, in my opinion, if it doesn't have value, if I don't experience value, then I'm not going to share it. So those are some of the things I think about in the social media context.
Interesting. First of all, I'm not sharing weight with Ram or with anybody who interacts with me on a regular basis because they'll be like, Magda, yeah, I'm a talker. So this is awkward.
No, so am
Um,
I. So am I, which is why it was very useful for me, especially when I started leading teams. I because I one of my, strengths is problem solving. So for me, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I know how that works, and I can help you. And I come from a very, I'm well intentioned. But then I've learned over the years that when I jump in like that, I'm taking away something from someone else. an
Mm.
opportunity for them to learn or participate or whatever. I found that I'm shutting people down very quickly. So this when I saw this infographic, I'm like, oh wow, this is made for me. So I actually
Yeah.
printed it out and I had it in my office wall for a long time.
Please find it and share it. And
Yes,
once I figure out how to add comments to this situation that's
yes,
happening, I will add that as comments, and I'll also add links to the webinars you talked about before, because they're so different and we do so many at Coacharia. And the one
yeah,
this morning with Stefano was really awesome. I mean, it
yeah,
inspired me to do a few things today that I've been putting off for literally years.
right.
So I loved it. Um, but as you're talking, what's coming up for me is actually when I first joined Coacharia and I saw that I think at that point there was only one monthly webinar, which we've done a few more now. But when I saw that, the energy felt low to me and the light was dark. And I passed big time judgment on the webinar. I thought,
Mm,
like, what a waste, because Ram is brilliant. He was the one leading the webinars. Um, the guests, if he had any, are brilliant. The content is great, but the delivery
yes,
was just so not my jam that I would have never watched those videos. And when I joined, I brand was like the first thing that I looked at, and consciously or unconsciously, I realized that because we're a pretty small company, authenticity I think is more important to us than to anybody else, because even if we wanted to fake it, we can't. But it's not the reason.
yes,
It's just
right.
authenticity I think is really important regardless. Anyway, so I my first kind of approach was, okay, how do we fix this? And I reframed how I thought about it, probably through a bit of coaching from Ram, if I think about it. Huh.
Mm,
Um, to how do we change this to an opportunity? How do we leverage the authenticity of these webinars and just spruce up the things that need to be spruced up? So things like having topics announced ahead of time,
right.
telling people the webinars exist, bringing others to the panel, having maybe not professional equipment, but a face that's more well lit, balancing the energy, like all these different things that I don't think we're perfect by any means, but I think our webinars are in general pretty watchable,
Mm.
and people get value out of them. Um, but yeah, I guess where I'm trying to get to in a very why am I talking way. um, you're launching, or you launch your small business, which is North Star
Solutions and services.
Solution Services. I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because there's different things with North Star. And okay, I'll put
Yeah.
the link in the chat, which let's pretend
Uh,
it's here later. I don't
okay.
know. I don't see
Okay.
YouTube clearly. I don't know what I'm doing. I just see people on videos. They do this stuff with their hands a lot. They do.
I
I
know.
watch a lot of makeup tutorials, and they go,
Yeah.
"Ooh, look at my." Okay, that's not this kind of video. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, brand North Star Solutions and Services.
Hmm.
Um, right now, because you just started your business, your brand is you.
Yes,
You are the brand.
that is correct.
So, what are you thinking about, my friend, when you're thinking about these posts, and are they true to who the brand is?
Yes, and that's why I put in more thought into it. And so if something, um, so there's, maybe two or three types of, well, probably only two types of posts I make. The posts that I make under the North Star banner on the North Star Solutions and Services page in LinkedIn, it's most often it's about sharing my content as, my snippets, micro learning type of things, or I'm sharing information of, let's say, a free course or a free webinar that I'm doing. So it's about my work and or information such as like Coach Aria webinars. I've started posting that now ever since I've created the
Thank you.
North Star page. Yes. So I cross post. But I cross post from people or organizations that I am already collaborating with, whether there is whether it's paid or not is besides the point. The point is, do I align with
Hmm.
those organizations? Do the values align? I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about it when I started with Coach Arya, and that's one of the things that really appealed to me. So there's a few other folks like that I've met recently, and we've started things like doing a free webinar, and we are exploring how this will work out, and if and when we can monetize it. So that's, to me, I think that the money will come. The
Mm,
key is to be able to show value and bring that value to the table.
yeah.
So, so to your point, yes, I'm very particular about what I post, and uh, on LinkedIn, under the my personal persona, under that page as well, I've always done that. I've always only talked about professional stuff, commented on things that really matter to me. So it could be, gender parity, or refugee resettlement, or poverty alleviation. Those are some of the causes that I that matter to me,
Mm,
and also in the healthcare space, healthcare disparities. So I think where it all comes from for me is my own personal values, which I actually also have listed down as the values for North Stars, precisely for the reason that right now the brand is me. And so for me, the values are fairness, integrity, respect, and empathy. And so, which is why topics around disparities, topics around refugee resettlement, and English language skills, because I think these are what makes this is what creates that barrier of people that have it and people that don't.
yeah.
And then it makes a difference on um, it makes a difference in how far they are able to progress in their professional lives, and actually in their lives in general.
Mm.
So my interaction online, even my comments on other posts, are are driven from. I mean, they're all rooted in that.
You're very impressive in how you do this. Um,
Oh, thank you.
I'm
I mean,
so no, but you are, because like you everyone should put the thought into it. I'm just, like I said, I'm an overthinker, and or I'm really impulsive. Again, shiny objects. I love my shiny objects. So my social media presence is all over the place. So for Coach Aria, the second I had opportunity for someone else to do it, I'm like, yes, because you can't trust me.
I think that the shiny object syndrome that you're talking about. I think all of us experience that, and in the human-centered design thinking world, I'm sure you're already familiar with this. So in the ideation stage, there's this concept of focus versus flare, right? So divergent thinking versus convergent thinking. So you practice that divergent thinking, you flare in search of. That's where by flaring is how you're able to intentionally seek out diverse perspectives. But then at some point, you've got to stop and then focus. So then you go from divergence to convergence, and then you arrive at something, and then you quickly sort of prototype, test, and then come back. And you can obviously jump from ideate directly to test. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of that model. You don't have to follow all the 5 steps. You can go from one to the another. It's not sequential. But I think so. Probably all you need to do is that at some point just stop the divergence and come back. I guess that's
Hmm.
the visual I was getting when you were talking
Sure,
about
I'll,
it.
I'll 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 do that sometime. Meenakshi, I just think it's quite funny how we start this conversation around the question about imposter syndrome, and
Yes.
how you said that you had the exact same reaction. Am I going to add value? Why me? And we're 29 minutes in. Probably should wrap up because my glass
Yes.
is almost empty, and I don't want to drink too many glasses on camera because I feel like that's a little bit. Actually, it's on brand for me. Let's be honest. On brand is me finishing this entire bottle.
Oh,
Anyway, um, but here you are, and I think you are adding value. I think you are saying things that are new. Like even just this last little bit about the divergent and convergent thinking. I've never thought about my shiny object syndrome that way. And I
mhm.
do it. I mean, literally, when I said I had my 5 different to do lists, I have them. I first always start off with just writing down stuff. And
Yes.
some that are on my computer, I have some on my calendar, I have some here. And
Same
then
here.
eventually I actually, what I've done with these, I divided this particular time into um, different intensities of projects. So I have like
Mm,
long-term initiatives versus, short-term projects versus daily tasks, things like that. So I went through my different to-do lists and I consolidated them, but in on that theme. So
mm,
now I'm replacing my to-do list on a daily basis almost
mm.
because I need to. But the other things, some of them have been sitting there for weeks because they're parts of larger projects. So I definitely did the whole Divergent thing and then I converged. And,
Yeah.
but that's something new that I didn't think about it that way. And it's cool.
Well, happy to. I think that's exactly how your agile product development, software development processes work, right? So you have your backlog and you put everything in the backlog, and then you start um, uh, refining the backlog, and then you start pulling them into your sprints, if you will, or if you're following Kanban, then you say, okay, I can work on my work in process limit is 5 items. So you work on 5 items, and when you're done with one and you've pushed it out, you take one more. So you're always working at on 5 items because that's your work in process limit.
Mm,
So you know that way, you're just busy enough. You also account for slack, which is something that we forget to do a lot of times. Nobody can operate at 100% all the time, right? So accounting for slack. So that's exactly what I was visualizing when you described what you did. That's exactly what it is. So
cool.
you're truly agile. Yeah.
That's right. Meenakshi, let's wrap things up. But
Yep.
this series is the wine almost empty, not wine filled. The wine almost empty, except yours. Do you even drink any wine during
I
this session?
I know. I just talked all
I'm
the
gonna wait.
time.
I'm gonna pause until you have a sip. I'll wait. Dude,
Okay, but
the
yes.
stream is called Wonder. Thank you. Cheers. Wonder Woman Wednesdays and wine. It's a
Okay.
quadruple alliteration because that's what this is. It's Wonder Woman Wednesdays. You're the Wonder Woman. This is Wednesday, allegedly. Because honestly, like again, March. Holy
This
crap!
is
Like
the
what a
first
terrible time.
day of a new month, of a new
Is it though?
quarter
Or as my sister
of
said
the
this
new
morning,
decade.
is it March 32nd?
No, we have to.
Yeah.
It's all in the perspective. That's what I'm telling
Okay.
myself.
Okay. Well, my perspective is going to be this glass when it's filled again.
Okay.
Okay, but since it's Wonder Women Wednesdays and wine, let's finish up by just you telling us a tiny bit about the whole point is to showcase women, right? And what they
Mhm.
do and lift each other up and support each other. So you as an entrepreneur and independent businesswoman growing soon to be already fabulous, excuse me, already fabulous, amazing business, but you're growing your business. So can you just tell us quickly what do you actually do for your consulting? And if somebody wants to hire you, what kinds of things would they hire you for?
Great. Yep, certainly. Thank you for that opportunity. So, North Star Solutions and Services, it's an organizational agility and workplace effectiveness consultancy, and we are boundaryless, which means it's a virtual business. To be honest, I hadn't thought of it that way when I first started it, but that's the whole purpose. Um, for me, it's important to be able to have a global reach and a global platform, which is another reason for me, Coach Aria. Again, there was that alignment, and being at the my overarching vision is to be able to play my part in democratizing access and opportunity for everyone. Um, I um, I think I have been lucky in a lot of respects, particularly in when it comes to education. My parents invested in my education. The rest of my family, my husband, everyone has invested in my education and has supported me throughout. And I think that there are several women out there that don't have that luxury. Um, in a lot of cultures and economies, women don't have women don't control the purse strings. So it's not easy for them to, first of all, find the money, and secondly, to make the decision to spend money on themselves, on their own education or reskilling or retooling. So I feel like I have this huge advantage, and I'm so acutely aware of the privilege that I have that I want to be able to share that with others. And so for me, having this as a virtual business is very important. And so, what are the things I do? I work with organizations and individuals. So, for individuals, my focus is around shaping up individual presence, self leadership. Then I also focus on English as a second language speakers, ESL speakers. So there's a program package especially for ESL speakers in the workplace, and then also in general workplace effectiveness skills. So now more and more of us are working remotely. So what are the ways in which you can manage your meetings, your teams, your work remotely? So that those are some of the things with individuals. And with organizations, it's more around managing and planning for any kind of organizational transformation initiative. It could be a new system, like a new enterprise level application that's being launched or planned, or it could be a new policy or a way of working, which is where agile comes in as well. So agile transformations. And the other piece that I have a lot of experience in is setting up internal communication frameworks for companies. And the industries that I have worked in are IT-enabled services, healthcare, health IT, and HR and training. So that's where I'm most fluent in. But I also consider myself a bit of a Swiss Army knife. I've worked in different industries ranging from hospitality and travel to healthcare, and in India and in the US. So I feel like um, I bring in that natural curiosity about a lot of things. And the other thing is, I've always had the opportunity and the good fortune to work with business owners, directly with business owners, regardless of what my title was in the company. And so I learned a lot about what it takes to motivate people, keep people aligned to the organizational goal, and manage enterprise level initiatives and transformation work. So that's sort of a nutshell.
So what you're saying is that all the businesses right now that are struggling with, oh my God, what the hell do we do because everyone is staying at home? They should call you and you will give them some good advice
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
some good
Training.
tools like
Yes.
Confluence. Oh, I love
Oh,
Confluence.
yeah. Right. So right now I'm trading and consulting work, and then as you know, I am um, working on becoming an ICF coach, ICF
Great.
certified. Yeah.
Through Coach Aria. Woohoo.
Yes. Absolutely.
Awesome. So Meenakshi, after this, if you could just send me a couple links, I will add them to the comments. Not just to you as the person they should hire, which they should. She's great, but also to a few tools and things. Like I think, yeah, Atlassian tools are amazing for
Yeah.
anyone who's trying to work in a distributed team. I mean, I've taken them to every company I consulted for or worked for since I worked there. I mean,
Yeah.
especially I love Confluence. I cannot tell you how much I love Confluence. Like
Yeah. There's a
I
lot
love
that you can do
Confluence.
with it. Yes.
Yes, you can. Oh,
It is
makes me
very.
so happy now that my team is on Confluence. Like I want to cry. Oh, Confluence for life. Um, but also, let's put some links to any speaking gigs and things because you do have a lot to share. Every time I've seen a webinar of yours, there's something new that I learn, even on topics where I thought I knew what I was doing. So I highly encourage anyone who's watching this to check out any webinars that you participate in. And
Perfect.
you and I are tag teaming for a webinar. Oh my gosh,
Next
a
when?
week from now.
Yes, the
Right.
8th.
A week
Yes.
from now, through EMCC, the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, we'll be doing a webinar on starting a virtual business, which is
Yep.
exactly what Coacharia is and exactly what North Star Services and Solutions that Meenakshi started is. So
Absolutely.
hope you can join us there. We'll add those links once I figure out how to do that, because where I'm looking at the screen right now, it says can't post comments on LinkedIn. So
Right. Right. So we'll figure some way out.
we're all learning. Well, I'm gonna go refill because it's that kind of a day. Is it? What day is it even?
It's
I know it's a
hump day.
day.
It's hump day. It's
I don't
Wednesday.
like that. I don't like something. No. I understand why, but I never liked it. Let's call
Okay.
it Wednesday. Let's call it Thursday in Australia. Let's call it Magda's second glass of wine is waiting for her day.
All right. Thank you very much for having
Thanks,
me. It was such a
Meenakshi.
pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Bye.
Bye.